The X factor on offense for the Colorado Buffaloes this season will be freshman phenom Quentin Gibson. Yes, I know he is a freshman. If you know Coach Prime, he loves to put the ball in the hands of his freshmen. And check this out. Ever since Quentin Gibson has stepped on the scene at Colorado, early transfer for the spring, he's been making plays like the one he did in the spring game. I'm telling you, his career at North Crowley High School is nothing to be played with. And as you can see, his quickness and elusiveness, he's just somebody you get the ball in his hands, pause, and he makes it happen. That's just something I can say about Quentin Gibson and what he has shown throughout his high school career and what he has shown in his short few months at Colorado. Now, Quentin Gibson is a 4-star commit out of North Crowley High School out of Fort Worth, Texas. ESPN had him ranked as a 3-star recruit, and Max Preps named him the AP National Player of the Year. And if you've seen some of the stats that he put up during his senior year campaign, it was insane. He recorded over 2,000 receiving yards and over 36 touchdowns while his team went on to win the state championship. And I'm talking about he went insane. Just a supreme playmaker in a talented state like Texas. Texas football, those divisions are not easy. He put up some monster games, and you could just see here in his footwork and his elusiveness. Quentin Gibson is smaller in frame, and he's about 5'8", 5'9", 160 pounds, but he showcases elite quickness and elusiveness and just has that playmaker dynamic. He reminds me, let's say, DeAnthony Thomas at Oregon. You could say Dre Archer, who played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can also compare him to Jalen Waddle in a sense of his quickness and his playmaking ability. But what he's going to bring to Colorado is explosiveness, and he's going to be able to catch the defense by surprise just based off of him being a freshman and him probably not being that much on the scouting report, depending on how Pat Shurmur decides to use him. I know for sure he's going to be competing for the starting punt returner and kick returner job. If I'm Coach Prime, if I'm Deion Sanders, he's going to be my starting punt returner, and he's also going to be my starting kick returner, just getting the ball in his hands and letting him follow his blocks, put his foot in the ground, and turn upfield. He also has great acceleration, something that Jimmy Horn Jr. exhibited last year, which helped get him to the league. Is acceleration is once you get the ball in your hands, how quick you turn upfield, how quick you can get from 0 to 5 to 10 yards, and that's something that Quentin Gibson has as well. You can see in his film, and you can see him coming in and out of his breaks with great elusiveness and acceleration out of the breaks. That's something that smaller stature receivers as himself. He's not 6'5", 6'4", 6'3". He's 5'8", 5'9". You would consider that as an undersized slot wide receiver. But somebody who played wide receiver and who's also, not that size as 5'8", 5'9", explosiveness, pause, elusiveness and acceleration is something that you're going to need to get open and, beat those nickel corners, that press break, and be able to take some of those screens to the house, be able to take some of those quick slants, some of those bubble passes, even some reverses. You got to have some acceleration and some speed, and that's something that Quentin Gibson has, and that's something he put on display during his high school career. I can't even emphasize to you how crazy he was, and I'm not going to act like I was up on Quentin Gibson throughout the whole 2024 season, but I definitely started seeing him on YouTube and on other highlighted platforms, based on some of the performances he put up, which is a couple 4-touchdown games, a couple of 3-touchdown games, and just the dynamic plays he was making, and also, his post-game celebrations. He was going crazy. Man, as you can see, Quentin Gibson is one of those players where you just got to get the ball in his hands and watch what he does with it from there. These Texas high school games are nothing short, but, Friday nights, the whole town, the whole city comes out. The rivalries are huge, and he never disappointed. 181, 3 touchdowns in the game. I want to say that was a state championship game, and he went absolutely crazy, making big plays against taller corners, against bigger receivers as well. As we know, him being about 5'9", 165 pounds, a lot of the jump ball came down with the play. So that's just something that you have to look for and expect for Quentin Gibson. He's already been shown in that practice, but it's just plays like this, that we can expect during his freshman campaign to be being made in the Big 12, as his straight line speed and his elusiveness is something that's going to boost Colorado's offense. Plug him in as a Jimmy Horn Jr. That's just something I could just tell you right out the gate. Plug him in as a Jimmy Horn Jr., some bubble screens, some quick screens, let him sit down in zone coverage, let him exploit a linebacker or a safety. And I feel like once he makes that first person miss, good luck trying to catch Quentin Gibson as, he has that. He looks like at least a 4.4, maybe cracking a 4.3 speed. As you can see right here, just pushing it up the sideline. This is his senior year. He's tough to catch, man. And he's one of those, he can stretch the field, with go balls, but he can also take a quick screen, a quick slant, a quick hitch, make one person miss and turn upfield. And that's what led for Coach Prime Deion Sanders and his recruiting agency to seek after Quentin Gibson. Being able to land him was one of the biggest high school signees that they got for 2025, with him being ranked so high. And he had some offers too. He had a lot of schools that were, taking notice on Quentin Gibson. So just with him, we're losing LaJohntay Wester. We're losing Travis Hunter. We lost Jimmy Horn Jr., Will Shepard. We do have Omarion Miller coming back. We do have Draylon Miller returning, Terrell Timmons. We got Sinclair from the transfer portal, but I feel like he needs to be in the offense day one. He needs to be getting the ball day one. And I just don't want to see a freshman like Quentin Gibson. It happens all the time. You go to a program, you come from putting up these type of numbers in high school, you show in practice, spring ball, and camp that you are capable of it, and then they end up going with the senior. They end up going with the junior or the guy who's been there the longest. Look, we can't destroy Quentin Gibson's confidence, as he has shown already in practice at Colorado that he is capable of making plays. This happens too often. I'm not saying that Colorado is going to do this, but it happens too often where you get a very talented signee from high school, you get him to the college level, then you want to make him a development project when he doesn't need no development. Get him the ball like he just did for North Crowley High School and let him make plays for Colorado. I just see that happen too many times. We hear of these big high school phenoms, and then once they get to a program, they become a 3 to 4 year development project, and then next thing you know, their confidence is down. They're buried in the depth chart. We ain't finna let that happen to Quentin Gibson. Like, comment, and subscribe. What y'all think about Quentin Gibson? Where do y'all see him on the depth chart this year? I really think he is the X factor for Colorado. He can make the offense pop. Say no more.